Did you guys know the biggest art heist in the history of the world took place right here in Boston, Massachusetts? It's not only the biggest in the history of the world, but to this day is still unsolved. On St. Patrick's Day in 1990, 13 pieces of art were stolen. Their estimated total value today is over $600 million. There's a $10 million reward that expires at the end of the year for any information that leads to the safe return of this art. Tonight, with help from intuitive Nichole, we'll be exploring this enduring mystery. I'm Chris.
I'm Kathy.
I'm Sean.
I'm Nichole.
And this is Waiter After Dark.
Today, we are so fucking blessed to have Nichole Duncan and Intuitive here with us on our show. Nichole, thank you so much for being here with us.
Hey. This is so fun. I feel like I've known you guys forever. This is I feel like I'm hanging with my friends.
Oh,
very
thank
cool.
you.
Nichole, we are so excited to have you here today. To kick us off, you actually go by a different term than most psychics or mediums. You go by the term intuitive. Can you tell us a little bit about what that means?
Yeah, great question. Intuitive was something that my husband made up because he is the brains behind the beauty. He was like, psychic is so cliche. And when you hear psychic, you just automatically associate it with Sylvia Brown or something, who I think is way cool. But intuitive to me is kind of all encompassing. I remote view, I can do mediumship, I channel. I don't even know how to explain my process. I just get the information downloaded. And sometimes with readings or different cases that I'm working, somebody will pop in or I'll just get the information.
Oh, that's so cool. You probably can't talk about any of the details of the cases you're working, but can you tell us a little bit about what kind of cases you've worked and what you've noticed?
Through this process, I realized that I'm able to look at a picture of a person or a missing person. And if they've passed, they come through to me as if I'm a working medium. Right? I can look at the picture and some come through stronger than others. For instance, one of the first cases I ever worked, the Nikki McCain case, I looked at a picture of her and then all of a sudden she just comes boom, all systems go. She wants to be found. She wants resolution for her family. She wants her kids to have closure. She wants her parents and sisters to have closure. So she came through and gave me 2 pages of specifics. I was then transferred to a red truck. This is who's driving the red truck. This is how I passed. This is where you can find my body. All of these details. I didn't know who she was. I didn't know who the case was. And it was fascinating. And so I reached out to the family contact, gave them all of my download, all the information that Nikki had given me. And it's been really, really cool to develop those friendships with the family and to see progression in the case. Since then, her husband has been arrested and he's now currently in jail. And I'm that is amazing because that guy needs to be in jail for a long time.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, it's very cool. Sometimes they don't want to be found, and so they're not that passionate, but they'll come through for their families, or it's really interesting.
She wanted everybody to know, so she came right through for you.
Totally. And I reached out to her family. I'm hey, do you mind if I talk about this? They're keep her name out there all the time as much as you can do. I'm that's really cool.
When you're getting what you call a download, what are you feeling? What is is it sensory overload? Is it a vibe? How does it manifest itself in you?
Great question. If you are in your home or in a room and somebody walks in, but they don't say anything, but you can feel them. For Kathy, Chris walking in a room feels different than when Sean walks in a room. It's different energy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I feel their energy. It's talking to me in my head telepathically. There's not a lot of words. It's more of feelings. And it really kind of started with remote viewing, which was really great because it's access and describe this target that I have in this envelope. I have no idea what's in the envelope. I just start drawing what I see in my mind's eye. And either you're right or you're wrong. And it's a learning process. And it's kind of learning how to trust that voice in your head without your ego getting in the way, which is very scary,
Do you mind, just for the gang, kind of telling us a little bit about how you got started? Because you had some really cool mentors.
So as a kid, I would have dreams of things that would happen. To this day, I'll go under streetlights. I'll be driving under streetlights and they just start turning off.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
And my husband's the ultimate skeptic. And so after 16 years, he's I'm not surprised that the streetlight turned off anymore, There's just things that happen. It's wild. I do believe it's all energy. Anyways, I was listening to the telepathy tapes. Have you guys listened to that podcast?
No.
No.
So good. It's so good. It's basically like a study turned into a podcast of nonverbal autistic children who communicate with their caretakers and their peers telepathically.
Oh, wow.
What?
Cool.
Yeah, what?
No, it's so crazy. It's so crazy to the point where like Allie in California will go into her room and be talking to Frank in Frankfurt or wherever the hell it is, and then they talk to each other telepathically, and then they come back and find Allie's parents and Frank's parents, and then they're like, oh yeah, we know everything about each other.
Wow.
It's crazy. It's so crazy. So that really intrigued me. My son is high-functioning autistic. So with the study of these autistic children, it really just piqued my interest. I'm like, yes, this is so true. My son is very good with animals. He can be friends with these animals that like nobody can be friends with. Like we have a cat. I've never touched her, but he like throws her over her shoulder and is like, no, don't you be sassy, Pickles, Like, why is he doing that, So I'm like, it resonated with me where I've seen the truth. And then, how like you're listening to podcasts and then like the next one will start. Next person that started was Angela Ford on the Sean Ryan podcast. And Angela Ford was talking about how she was a career psychic for Stargate, but also working in the government. I'm like, how on earth did she merge the two? Because the government is so black and white, kind of like stale, very regimented. And when I think of a psychic, I'm thinking very free, very flowing. So how did she merge the two? So randomly, I sent her an email. I'm like, hey, Angela, looking for a friend. Do you have any book recommendations? How did you do this? And through a series of emails, she gave me a reading. And at the start of her reading was, oh, Nichole, you're totally psychic. You're very intuitive. You can remote view. And so she was like saying all this stuff. And I'm like, the hell is remote viewing? Like, I've never heard of this before. After the reading, we were talking and then we just kept in touch. And she kind of was like, all right, I've got a target, access and describe target 3619B or whatever. She doesn't even put it in a envelope or anything. She just like keeps it in her head. So I just start drawing and then...
Is she just giving you coordinates? She's just like, that's what you're getting?
No, it's just like, it's not even coordinates. It's like access and describe target number 3BLC. They just,
okay.
I don't even know how they organize it. So then on my paper, I'll write the date, time, and what the target is. Then I'll just start sketching. And whatever was popping in my head was what was the target a lot of the times. And then I came to find out that I could do this with pictures. I could look at a picture of somebody and I could tell them about their character traits or like what their personality is. I could do this with homes or buildings. Like a friend of mine has like Flagstaff ghost tours from high school or whatever. And he was saying, hey, I'm doing ghost tours. I'm like, hey, I'm kind of like dabbling into this, if ever you want any help. He's like, yeah, like tell me what you can find about this place. And I'm like, whoa, that place is loaded. Don't go upstairs to the left. Feels very busy. And then the place next door, it's like a coffee shop, but it was a pub back in the day. And it's like where everybody would hang out. And the police were there. It's like the Wild West and feels very family oriented. Downstairs, like where they do their stuff. Anyways, he's like, dude, it was family owned by three brothers. It's a trip. And it was like the train station hotel. And the bar was upstairs and up to the left was like where a lot of like bad things happen to these like women traveling through by themselves. And I'm like,
yeah, it all just tracks.
That's so wild.
Yeah.
So you told us a little bit about what it feels like when you're channeling someone and they're coming into your life and you're seeing them. How's that different from the remote viewing portion? Like where you're able to put yourself there and in the moment and see what's going on. Like, is that a different feeling, a different vibe?
Yes, it's totally a different vibe. Angela gave me the best advice that I've ever had in this remote viewing space. She goes, you get in, you get out, and you're done. So basically I tune in, I see what I see, I get out, and then I record it or write it down, do whatever. Whereas like if I'm doing a reading for Chris, I feel Chris's energy. I feel what his personality is like. I can tell that he's very spiritual, that there's a depth to him. He's very aware of all these other things that are happening that we can't see.
I think he just smiled. I think he just made him blush.
Yeah.
He's like, there's depth to me.
Somebody finally understands me.
My ego likes that.
No, but you know what's so funny is that during this process, after I do a reading, I automatically assume that we're like best friends because like, I know them like that. Like I'm like looking into like their soul or their essence, and it's very intimate. It's very vulnerable, and it's very revealing. And I automatically assume that you guys feel the same way about me.
I feel the same way about you. I'm thinking you said Nashville, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm like, I want to go back.
Doors are open.
Yes, we got an invite. We got an invite. We're going to Nashville.
I want to say this. We moved to a farm the summer of 2025 in a rural area. We wanted space. We bought like 5 acres. It's quiet. There's nothing around. We're tucked in by all these trees. You can't see us from the road. And that had a lot to do with my like opening up or being able to receive information because I was very still. And while my kids are at school, my husband's at work, I can listen a lot easier. That makes sense.
Yes.
There's not a lot of noise. There's no traffic.
You had mentioned you have a meditation routine, and is that connected to this, quieting your mind?
100%. So during the telepathy tapes, I started to meditate. I like guided meditations because I have really bad ADHD or really great ADHD.
We are best friends.
Yes.
Moving forward, best friends.
Yes. Nashville, ADHD. We're going to be meditating together.
She cries when she meditates.
I cry
be careful.
when I meditate
be careful.
because I cry when I meditate. I
okay.
have a lot of baggage. It's fine.
Listen, you're preaching to the choir.
I did Pilates and had to meditate at the end of it and had to get up and leave the class because I started crying. And then it had an emotional breakdown in the parking lot in my car. So.
I felt things. That's not right.
I went home and I
go
told
home?
Chris, I was like, I don't know how to do this thing. And he's like, you meditated? I was like, I guess. And I just, all of a sudden I had these feelings. And he was like, yeah, that's the point. And I was like, I didn't like it. So I ran. He's like,
The mind went silent.
Yeah,
the mind was silent.
He's like, I try so desperately to get my clients to get to that moment where they can open up and feel those feelings. And you ran from it into your car. It was like, no, shut it down. Never doing it again, ever.
100%. Yes, I totally identify with that. And I was very much like that. I had this gift, but I really just shut it down. I was busy being a mom. I was busy being a wife. I had my own job. I was a tennis professional. I would teach tennis. I still do teach tennis occasionally. But like the feeling side of things and like listening and not doing things my way was very trying. And through meditation, that really opened me up. Big time.
This gift that you have, is it something that's ever evolving? Is it like getting better? Is it like a talent? Like every time I do this, I find myself sharpening it and I'm able to channel in more or connect more with the spirit or remote view closer and see more of what it is?
It's honestly, it's more confidence.
Yeah.
And it's like the longer that I like walk in this path, the more like idiosyncrasies that I see that I'm like, I know that there's more going on.
Yeah.
For instance, like I had a very, very, very close friend pass away about a year ago. And I'm like, I'm going to give these guys these readings. I'm going to be on this podcast. Like, I just don't want to look like an idiot. Like I don't want to look like I'm making this stuff up because I know that I'm not, but I can't convince anybody else that I'm not, right?
Yeah.
So I saw what I saw with my reading with Sean, this text like, hey, did XYZ happen? Right. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to know the answer. I'm just going to flip my phone over. I'm going to go to lunch. And then my friend Kenda popped in. And she was very much like an older sister to me. She was very, very close. And she popped in my head and said, Nichole, do you think I'm going to bring you this far along? We're going to bring you this far along to embarrass you. And I was like, oh, that's so nice, And then I turned my phone over. He's like, yeah, that did happen. I'm like, like, it's such a hookup. Like, it's just like so nice because like, it's just different. It's not something that like everybody's used to talking about.
I love that you're talking about confidence because I imagine at first it's strange, probably leaning into like, okay, like it probably feels crazy, right? Like
I totally feel crazy all the time. That's why I tell my husband, I'm like, I am spot on or put me in the loony bin. Because I don't know how to reconcile this. But here's the thing. Angela Ford at the beginning said, listen, you're not going to bat 1,000. I get stuff wrong all the time. And I'm like, if somebody like Angela can say this, that gives me the freedom to make mistakes. Mm-hmm. And that was very freeing. And I was like, okay, I have a safe place. Like I could get stuff wrong. My ego could get in the way and I could try to start justifying XYZ. So yeah, it's been a process, but it's all been very loving and very kind. And like, I feel very taken care of from.
Yeah, it sounds beautiful. Right?
I really like that.
Thank you so much for sharing a little bit about yourself and your gift and your experiences with it. And hopefully we get to tap into some of that today. In fact, Chris, you've set up today's episode about the Gardner Heist. Why don't we go ahead and get started?
Okay, so we gave Nichole a picture of a room in a museum and no other information. She was pretty adamant we don't tell her anything about the case other than sending her a picture. And we asked her to give us what she was able to see from her astral projection session or intuitive seeing. I'm not quite sure what to call it.
Me either.
Perfect.
I like that.
And I figured she could share a little bit with us about what she saw and a little bit about her process. And then we'll kind of go into the case and see if any of the theories or suspects or facts from the case line up with what she saw.
So we are going to get the remote viewing before we get into the case.
Yes.
I love
Oh,
Yes,
damn.
I like this. I like this.
I like
a lot.
it.
So it's kind
I
of
like it. Okay.
blindsiding you.
This was on 9/14 at 10:26. I'm just reading my notes that I wrote down on my phone. Organized crime, small ring, specialized teams. Someone let them in who had access. That was a male.
Ooh.
Had a connection to the inside. The hookup didn't think that they were going to do the big one the way that they did. Did an employee go missing? ? Their hookup ? He knew too much. Precision, boats, 2 males, 1 female. I feel like the art was dispersed to other yachts. Then they all went their separate ways to make their money and then some. Okay, the translation would be this. I feel like that there was 2 males and then there was a female. The males were distracting while the female went to go in and get all of the art. This would have never happened in this museum in Boston if there wasn't access to a boat. They had an arrangement to get the art transported to the boats. Would have never happened without the water. Luxury, big money behind these thieves. Sniper like SEAL Team 6 or like, Navy SEALs that are specialists. Like the sniper will go in and go out and you never hear about him. This is the equivalent in the art heist world. Whoever was behind this, I get the impression that it was from China first. And if it wasn't from China, it would be for Japan. But I'm pretty confident that they were Chinese black market art heist specialists. You would never know who they are. They have regular lives, but then they partner with locals to kind of get the job done. And they ultimately sell the art on a black market. I see the female taking the art and giving it to whoever on a boat. This is all very, very organized. So when she does her job, she's done. The boat driver, nobody would assume. He goes all the way back to the ocean, and I'll send you guys the map.
There's
I
a
got
map, Nichole.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, this is so interesting. I've never had this happen. The boat driver takes it back to what I believe is the East Chinese Sea. They meet other black market consumers. They sell the art, and the independent buyers, they meet on a boat, they get their piece, and then they're gone. They all make their money and then some. Their circles are so close and small. Could be family, but they operate in a way that no one knows, and they're completely undercover. None of the buyers work directly with them. Now, when I go to where the art pieces are, I see that there are buyers in Dubai, buyers in South America, buyers in China and Japan, and even in Europe. Like everybody had like their specific order. They go in and go get it, and then they purchase it, and then it's gone. Like these pieces, they'll never be seen again. Like I'm talking like Saudi princes in places that nobody ever gets to go.
It sounds almost like they knew what museum that they were ultimately going to put the heist on. And they basically said,
100%.
Let's take orders. Which paintings in this building do you want?
Yeah, 100%. This is what they do. They were like, think about the elite best of the best of like anything in their field. Okay. Like covert missions. Every single person has the exact role, and that's their specialty. In the same way that this is like a black market art heist, the 2 dudes were chosen specifically. This chick was chosen specifically. The boat driver was chosen specifically, and they all coordinated in a way where like no one person overlaps with the other. Like it's just done and it's clean. And like, this is so funny. Sometimes I'll get the download and then I need like a translation. What I had wrote down is like Marie Kondo, like precision. Do you guys remember like the organizer on Netflix? She was like the ultimate like home organizer. She would take the messiest places and turn it into like squeaky clean precision organizing.
I love everything about that. I have a pantry that is everything is labeled and in its spot. So I love everything about what you're saying right now.
I am nothing like that.
That destroys me. I don't know if we can be friends.
It's okay. We'll balance each other out.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, I had notes on clues from the crime scene that would be able to link these people back. I have a candle that had dropped, and then I had a secret freaking door.
Ooh, interesting.
Okay.
Yes, and I see her going downstairs and ultimately to a car. And then that's it. That's how she got away. She got away before anybody had a freaking clue what was going on.
Yeah, as we get into the story, you're going to make a lot of connections. And some of it's completely brand new, too, which is interesting.
So the last thing that I want to say about the heist is the organizer on the boat, and this is going back to something that I'd never seen before, was what I see is they're on a boat, and what they did is take like a waterproof like safe, and they put some of the pieces in this safe and they put it at the bottom of the ocean off the boat. Now, with that being said, it's not very deep, but like who's ever going to go looking for a safe at the bottom of the ocean? And it's almost like a safety deposit box. Like, you know how you like go into a hotel and you like put your goods in the safe?
It's kind of genius, right?
Brilliant.
Like if you're going to steal something and then want to be able to keep it on the low key for a little while.
Keep it for the family, keep it for whatever, like insurance policy. Like I have this like $1 billion pieces. I see it in a black rectangle box that is like air pressured and that is waterproof and it's chilling at the bottom of the ocean.
And it's very interesting that you said insurance policy because that idea comes up in the investigation too. So
okay, so that's my download. That's everything that I got. So yeah, thank you for letting me do this. I had no idea about this. I'm from Southern California, so everything that happens in Boston is like people in Southern California don't think anybody else lives outside of Southern California. So it was like,
it's how we feel in New England.
I had no idea about it.
So the art heist at the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum has been investigated by the Boston Police, the FBI, countless private investigation firms, amateur sleuths, newspaper reporters over the last 35 years. A lot of intriguing leads and theories, from the mundane to the fantastic, have been explored, all resulting in no convictions, no recovered paintings, and a case as cold as the Boston waterfront on a windy February night. First, I want to take you guys through the facts from the night of the robbery. So the robbery happened on St. Patrick's Day in 1990, or the morning after to be more exact, at 12:30 in the morning. Several partiers walking home from the bars filled with Irish spirit noticed two Boston police officers sitting in an unmarked dark car across the street from the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum in Boston proper. They had no way of knowing at that point. They'd just become witnesses to the biggest art heist in the history of the world.
Just two drunk people walking by some police officers.
Drunk people saw them and then got caught up in this FBI investigation.
That's what I call it 3 days after I was born. Come on.
I mean,
all right.
Let's go.
So Sean's off the suspect list. He was just born.
Damn.
That's the only one I'm taking off so far.
That or, I was a very strong
skills.
child.
Yes, get some skills.
Very refined taste.
The museum security guards on duty that night were Rick Abbott, age 23, and Randy Hansen, age 25. Rick was the regular night watchman, but this was Randy's first time on the night shift. Museum security protocol was that one guard would walk the museum with flashlight and walkie-talkie, while the second guard monitored the cameras and 47 motion detectors from the guard room near the front entrance of the building. They would switch off every hour and they would make their rounds. The building security included 4 cameras, all on the external corners of the buildings, giving a live feed to the guard room recorded to VHS tapes. No internal cameras were in place at that time. The museum had 47 motion detectors throughout the property and detectors on each door and window. These all registered in the guard room when anybody walked through one of these rooms or opened one of the doors or closed one of the windows. There was one secret alarm button on the wall underneath the desk at the guard room that went directly to the Boston Police Station. The museum, having financial issues over the years, did not update their security system since the early 80s, and they didn't have nearly enough insurance money to cover the amount of art that it held. So they were in financial straits at this time.
Can you imagine your first night on the job? The biggest heist ever happens on your first night. What an ego killer. You're not cut out for this, bud. I'm sorry.
What I find funny about this is when I met Chris, he was a security guard.
Were you a security guard?
Oh, yeah. I worked security in a hotel in Lawrence.
Oh, my God. Did you get heisted too?
He used to have to sit
No.
in the front.
I was a terrible security guard.
Yeah, he was not good at it. I hear the story and I do.
I mean, at least he wasn't this bad.
It wasn't this bad. It was not this bad.
Oh,
no.
I had a job where I was supposed to be in a parking lot in Lawrence, and I was just supposed to sit in my car and keep people out of that parking lot.
He used to nap.
Did you do it?
Or leave.
I did for like a day or two, and then I quit and didn't tell anybody. They sent me a paycheck for months.
No shit.
You napped for a while.
Oh, yeah. I bring a pillow.
Yeah.
So that night, Nick took the first patrol on the museum floor, and he had several smoke detector alerts show up on the security system, and he walked the entire building and didn't see any smoke or fire. He also opened a side door briefly on his patrol, triggering a security system to record the door opening at 12:55 a.m. He returned to the security desk and cleared the false alarms. At 1 p.m., Randy, the brand new guard, left the guard office to start his patrol of the museum floor, leaving Rick to monitor the guard room. At 1:24 a.m., the front door buzzer rang, and from closed-circuit TV camera, Rick saw 2 Boston police officers at the front entrance. Through the speaker, they explained they had a call for a disturbance at this address and needed to be let in. Rick, seeing 2 guys that looked like Boston police officers, buzzed the door and let them into the office.
What?
Yeah.
This already seems like red flag right here.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
this
what?
is a big red flag. So Rick sat back down on the desk and radioed to Randy to come back from patrol to the guard office. Rick said he noticed the shorter police officer seemed to be wearing a fake mustache.
What?
Yeah.
What? Okay.
As one does,
Yeah.
Chris, as one does.
Yes, Rick was very stoned at the time, by the way. But we'll get into that a little bit. in
Just
the
because you smoke a
investigation.
little weed doesn't mean
He
you
smoked a
can't
lot of
be
weed.
accurate with your recall. Shame on you.
I can say otherwise.
Shush your face. Shush your face.
So the taller officer told Rick he looked like a guy they had a warrant out for his arrest and asked him to come out from around the desk and show him their ID. Now remember, the desk that he was sitting at was the only alarm button that connected directly to the Boston Police Department. Rick complied, and once the officer inspected his ID, he threw Rick against a wall and handcuffed him and patted him down for weapons. Rick protested and said he didn't have a warrant out for his arrest. The officer reassured Rick that they most certainly had the right guy.
So you have a police officer who's coming to you who says, we have a warrant for you. Come out, right?
They came in to investigate a disturbance call,
Which they didn't call in.
which they didn't call in,
Nobody
yes.
called in. And then the police officers, in quotations.
With the weird mustache.
Yeah,
Yep.
with the fake mustache, said to Rick, you look like somebody who we
That
have a warrant
for your arrest.
for.
Yes.
And it was only after he came out from behind the desk that he was like, I don't have a warrant.
Well, a police officer gives you a directive, show me your ID.
And you're
he
probably
complies.
stoned. You're
Yeah,
like,
he complies. He's 25 years old.
and
He's a
it's-
kid.
Yeah, and it's 1990s.
Perfectly
I remember the
orchestrated.
90s
Yeah.
being
It's like
stoned.
organized
and
to
afraid of
the
cops.
T.
So they have Rick in handcuffs, and Randy returns to the guard office shortly afterwards, and the 2 police officers then cuff Randy as well and explain they're not real police officers. They're there to rob the place. They also told the 2 guards if they cooperated and kept their mouths shut in 1 year's time, there would be a great reward.
I would probably be quiet and be like, all right, cool.
Oh, real talk though. Like, what do you do? They say, hey, just shut the fuck up and there's money. You know your money's not coming, all right?
Yeah, you know
But
it's not
the
coming,
money's
but
not coming. Yeah, I mean,
my big concern is not getting killed. at that
Right?
point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Whatever you
I
say.
would comply.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, Kathy, you
Regardless-
listen to the officers now?
No, I'm listening to the robbers
Yeah.
because those motherfuckers are going to kill me.
So the 2 police officers also took and studied the 2 guards' IDs, gave them back to them, and informed them, we now know where you live. So if you do not keep your mouth shut, we will find you. So they then duct taped over their mouths and eyes of the 2 guards, and without asking for directions, led them into a storage area in the basement that was off limit to guests. They handcuffed one of them to a pipe and the other one to a workbench. To subdue the guards and then lock them in the basement took 15 minutes. And at 1:35 a.m., the motion detectors had 2 people leaving the basement. Now, it wasn't until 1:48 a.m. the 2 men were recorded on the motion detectors entering the exhibit hall. It has been theorized that during this missing 13 minutes, the 2 robbers were waiting to see if the real police would show up. When they didn't, they went to work in the Dutch Room exhibit hall first. They grabbed and smashed paintings on the marble floor to remove them from the glass frames, and then used a knife to crudely cut out the paintings from the frames. In this room, they were able to remove 5 paintings. The most valuable one being the concert painted by Dutch painter Vermeer. This was one of only 34 paintings by this artist Vermeer, and its estimated value is $250 million today.
God damn, one painting?
One painting, $250 million.
And the fact that they just like ripped it out, like knife in and just.
Oh, we'll get into that, yeah.
The only motherfucker I know is a Rembrandt. So I was like, who? Of a who? Of a who?
Vermeer.
Vermeer.
Really? That's it? Rembrandt?
That's all I got. That's the only one I know.
So to this day, this is the most valuable known stolen item in the history of the world.
Damn.
They were also able to steal a painting in this room called The Storm of the Sea of Galley, a Rembrandt.
Yeah, Rembrandt.
Yes.
Yes, Sean knows that one.
You'd get there
It's the
eventually.
only one I know.
This one is valued at $140 million. They also were able to take 3 other paintings from this room.
It's like they knew where they were going. They took them downstairs. Why did they take them there?
Yep.
They went out of their way to take them down to a specific spot. Like, that's strange.
Yeah. And that area was off limits to the public.
Yeah.
So
They knew about it.
Somebody knew about it.
They knew.
Yeah.
And you have to remember, too, I think that like it was 1990. So it's not like where you can Google a museum and kind of see like a map
They
of
studied it.
the layout of the building. Back in the 1990s, you didn't have that access, right?
Nichole said we have an inside guy involved.
Well, that's what I'm saying,
yeah.
right? Like, so that wasn't like
There's an
public
inside guy involved.
knowledge.
Well, even think back
Boots
to
on the
the
ground.
boots on the ground. Even think back to your Brinks heist, the episode we did on that, right? Like they had every step mapped out. They had keys made to get in and get out.
Yes.
This definitely has this vibe to it. Yeah.
So at 1:51 a.m., the motion sensor detected one of the two thieves leaving the Dutch hall exhibit and entering the short hall exhibit room, named such due to it being a short hall. Here they took 5 Degas sketches and a brass eagle that once topped a Napoleon flag they had on display. So there was evidence that they tried to unscrew the Napoleon flag from its protective glass covering secured to the wall because several screws were taken out, but they seemed to abandon this project. The last painting they stole was a watercolor from the Blue Room on the first floor called the Chaise Chiron. However, the motion detectors never recorded anybody being in this room during the time of the heist.
Ooh, so it didn't even go off.
It did not. Now, later on in the investigation, the motion detectors were tested and seen to be operational, adding a new wrinkle to this series of events.
So it was like they clearly had been potentially turned off during the heist.
Or maybe somebody had taken that painting first.
Or maybe they were never turned on.
Yeah.
Taking it first. So you're saying the security guards are in on it?
Well, we're going to get into some of the suspects, and we'll get into all of that.
Oh, my God, I'm getting so hyped.
Yeah, just wait. Just wait.
Like, what?
So sometime in between 2:30 a.m. and 2:45 a.m., the two thieves checked in on the two guards and asked if they were okay. They're kind of nice.
What? What?
They also reminded if they
cool.
say anything, they would find them. So not so cool.
You guys need a snack? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I'm gonna hit the local Sal's. So you need a
Yeah,
slice?
you need some?
Yeah.
If it was me, I'd probably have to go to the bathroom.
Somebody give me a hug.
Yeah, I need a hug.
I need a cuddle.
So at 2:45 a.m., the side entrance door registered as opening, and that was the last recorded entry of the night. So they theorized that the entire robbery took 81 minutes in total. The next day, the first shift security guard rang the buzzer to get let into the museum. Nobody answered. They used a key to get in, and they found the security office empty. At this point, they called the police immediately. The police arrived and searched the building, and they found the two security guards still handcuffed in the basement, but otherwise unharmed. VHS tapes were missing, but the hard drive that collected the door opening and the motion detector data was left.
Wait, so VHS tapes missing for what?
There were security cameras outside.
Oh,
The
the
outside.
outside. The
Back
outside.
in the
Okay.
day,
Yep.
they were recorded on
I
VHS.
understand what a VHS is. Just my brain was like, there wasn't video
Whatever.
inside.
Way back in the olden days, Sean.
I just
Before
didn't
things
realize.
were stored to the cloud.
I missed it was
motherfucker.
outside. Okay.
Whatever.
And this kicks off one of the biggest and most frustrating investigations in Boston's history. Next, I want to get into the investigation a little bit, and we'll get into some of the suspects and then really some of Nichole's viewings, too.
I can't wait.
So who did it? The FBI went through and collected fingerprints, footprints, and DNA evidence. But this was a popular museum and hundreds of people visited a month. No known criminals matched any of the data they collected. One interesting clue that they considered by the investigators was the paintings that were not stolen. While the heist was the most valuable art heist in the history of the world to date, there was also a few paintings that were not that valuable that were taken, and they walked right past paintings that were more valuable.
So it's like they didn't know exactly which ones to grab. It kind of goes back to what Nicole
Well, yeah.
said.
There was like
Whereas
a
like
There was
they
an
had
order
it.
list.
Yeah.
Yes.
Custom orders.
Oh,
That makes a lot of sense by this, because some paintings that were more valuable, they walked right by, and other paintings that were less valuable, they took, which makes you think, well, they just don't know what they're doing. So this, and the haphazard way that the paintings were cut out of their frames, made investigators think that this was not sophisticated art thieves, but more of a smash and grab job. But still others theorized the lack of sophistication could have been a tactic by known art thieves to throw off the investigation and widen their suspect list to give the FBI fits. So let's get into the suspect, Rick and Randy, the two security guards, right? Remember, Rick had opened the side door during his first walkthrough of the museum. This was recorded on the motion detectors, and the FBI theorized that this was a signal to the robbers that the coast was clear. Rick reported, under interrogation, that he did this to make sure the door was locked. However,
I opened it to make sure it was locked.
I opened it and closed it to make sure it was locked.
Not to any other door?
Not only that, the computer never recorded this door being opened and closed during any of his other shifts. So this was a one-time thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
Red flag.
100%.
Red flag. The FBI also suspected Rick and Randy due to the painting being stolen from the Blue Room, even when the motion detector never registered during the robbery.
That's another red flag. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The only time the Blue Room motion detector registered that night was when Rick walked through on his first patrol. The FBI eventually concluded after exhaustive interrogation of Rick and Randy that basically Rick and Randy were morons.
Yeah.
I get that impression too.
Yes.
Same.
No, seriously, it's not an insult. It's just like
They're not smart enough to pull this off.
Yeah, and they felt that they were incompetent to pull off such a sophisticated crime, and Rick admitted to smoking a lot of pot and being very stoned at work that night, and the FBI profiler did not see the two guards as capable of this level of sophistication.
Wouldn't that be the type of exact person you'd want in on, like,
No.
you only but you only know enough information. Hey, just open the side door. You have no idea what's going on. Just do it.
Yeah, I'll
You're
give you
dumb
one.
enough to do this, but they know nothing else.
I know,
Cool.
yes, and you give no other information.
Yeah.
Or
100%.
these two people, you know who they are, and you know the type of their characteristics.
Oh, okay. That's fair. That's fair.
But maybe then you use the fact that
Got
you
it.
know them to say, like, I'm going to Rick and Randy. This is who they are.
These guys are fucking dumbasses.
I'm
We can
almost-
easily take advantage
Exactly.
of them.
I'm
I
almost
see.
I'm
I see.
almost envisioning like there's a third person kind of behind the scenes
checking it out.
having all of these things happening, using them as like their cover, but like there's a third person kind of like maybe behind it.
Chris doesn't look
Yep.
like we're solving mysteries right now.
No, it's very
I don't know who
interesting.
that is.
I'm
I'm just-
excited
it
about
is.
this.
I just want to say, when you started off, Nichole said, hey, the heist happened by two guys and a woman. I was like,
Two guys and a woman.
And the chick's the ninja, dude.
And she never shut off any motion detector.
Yeah, these
Nicole,
are-
I hope you're a ninja because there's nothing stealthy about me. I come in like a
Ninja
wrecking
qualities
ball.
are one that I don't have. Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Chris, you're the only suspect potentially left of the four of
You're
us.
the only
Okay,
ninja.
Fair.
No, but it's like, she's just like, press this, Rick, press this, erase this, Randy, like all played out to the T.
Yeah, I think somebody could easily corrupt Rick and Randy.
Yeah, almost like just manipulate them, kind of use
Yes.
them as
Cheap.
puppets.
Yep.
Yes.
Sort of.
100%.
Yeah.
When I was a stoner and I was 25, yeah, I could have been manipulated by a woman.
A pretty woman wants to give me $20. Yeah, tell me what to do.
Yeah. Which paintings do you want? I'll cut them out. Yeah.
I love art.
Sean's like, I like colors.
I'm going to take you to the blue room.
Yeah.
Rick's planning this romantic date.
Hey,
Yeah,
no
yeah.
chick wants to be brought to the blue room.
But
So-
it's just like long strolls on the beach.
Bottles of wine.
You ever see a Rembrandt? I can't.
Wow. Yep. I think we got this solved.
Yeah.
So Rick claimed his innocence until he passed away at the age of 57 in 2024. Randy still claims his innocence to this day. Neither of them have been taken off the suspect list, but neither of them have been convicted either.
Do either of them have any signs of like financial windfalls or any of their families having, like, is there any signs?
The FBI have been looking into them for the last 35 years, and they never had enough to officially arrest them. So I'm going to say no.
You can't subpoena his bank account
Yeah.
statements, without probable cause.
Yep.
You have to have a judge sign off on that.
I mean, I feel
I'm
like
sure they
I feel
probably
like there
did,
would be
though. Yeah.
probable
Yeah,
cause.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
I feel like they
Right.
could find cause to do that.
I feel like Rick and Randy were pansies in this.
Yeah,
They were
I
set up.
would say that would be
Totally
my
agree.
feeling
They're like
too.
pawns with playing with
Mhm.
chess.
Yep.
Yeah.
So next on the suspect list is Whitey Bulger, a known crime boss from South Boston of the infamous Winter Hill Gang. Whitey Bulger had many police officers on his payroll at that time and would have had access to the police officers' uniforms. He was also an informant for the FBI, and he ran many illegal activities with immunity as long as he was feeding the FBI information about the Italian crime families in Boston. This might have given him the gall to try to pull off this heist. He also had ties to the IRA, the Irish Republican Army, a group who wanted to kick the British out of Ireland and sometimes funded their efforts through criminal activities. The IRA had a heavy presence in the Irish South Boston community, And their MO in past robberies was to set off alarms before a robbery to confuse police into thinking that it was not a real alarm, rather just another false alarm. Now remember, Rick had several smoke alarms go off the night of the robbery. This being said, this was also St. Patrick's Day, where many police officers were drinking all day or busy in the bars breaking up fights for most of the night, so this might have bought some time if a real alarm had been tripped.
It was a very different time.
Yeah.
Back then.
Wow.
We've been to St. Patrick's Day parade, and you see police officers marching, and they've got coolers, and they're handing around flasks.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
the entire town is hammered.
This is not like a coincidence.
No, this
is
just like
planned out.
Yes.
Yes. And the police are, they're very distracted. They're distracted with everything else that's going on, especially in Boston, in Southie, where it is madness happening. So,
Chris, I'm sorry, I'm going to go on like a minute tangent here.
Yeah.
I don't think I've shared this story on the podcast before. I didn't know Whitey Bulger was a part of this story. And obviously, anyone who knows Boston knows that Whitey Bulger had a very complex relationship with the city of Boston, right? He has his mob ties and, helping kill people and be hitmen and put them off. But also,
he was a hero.
A lot of people saw him exactly like as a hero. And
it's fucked.
Yeah. I mean, he was a terrible man, don't get me wrong.
Mob history is like crazy.
It's crazy. We actually have personal ties in our family to Whitey Bulger, which is really interesting. So my dad, growing up in the projects of Southie, told me this story one time that he was actually coming home from school one day, and there were these two boys that went to school with him that were like chasing him down the road. And my dad is just like running. He's hustling back to his house. And as he's on the way there, he runs by Whitey, and Whitey sees my dad. He lives in the same project community that my dad lived in. And he says, "John, come over here." And my dad goes over to him, and he's just like, "These boys giving you a hard time." And my dad just like tells him what's happening. And my dad always told the story like, "I don't know what the fuck he did, but I was never bullied ever again at that school." And my dad used to also mow
his
Whitey
lawn.
Bulger's lawn. Some people see him as a hero.
I don't know if you guys remember when there was the Boston Strangler and he was attacking women running in the park, college students. The police couldn't catch him, and Whitey Bulger offered to track him down for the Boston police.
Wait, really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That was kind of like, I mean, when you look back at like Boston and their history with the mobs, Irish or Italian, there was something about the mob that in their neighborhoods, they would protect the people that were inside the bubble, the dome, the cocoon, whatever you want to call it. They felt safe. They felt protected, even though maybe these crime lords were doing things that maybe weren't the best things to be doing. They're ultimately good for their neighborhood.
Yeah, they were still looking out for the neighborhoods in South Boston.
They were.
I love how we all were like, you know what, man? Days were great with the mobs. We're really missing community.
I find myself like always pulling for them because of their like code of ethics. They're like for family. I'm like, I'm for family. I'm like, I'm not down for like killing people in their cars.
There was all the murders.
Yes, I mean, it pissed me off,
Yeah.
Other than that, we cool.
Yeah. There's something like very endearing about the mob.
There is a romanticized version of what they represent.
And remember, Whitey Bulger's brother was the president of Boston College.
Yeah.
One of the biggest colleges in Boston. So he had some pretty important ties.
Wasn't
in the
one
city.
of the Bulgers like governor or something too? Or something like that?
He was friends with the Kennedys.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
That's what
Right?
it was? Okay.
Friends with Kennedys.
Interesting.
So the FBI investigated Whitey and the IRA for these crimes for decades, but could not have any definitive connection between them and that night. Now, Whitey went on the run for other charges in 1994. He was actually arrested in a retirement community in 2011 in California. That image just cracks me up. He's in a retirement community and the FBI, SWAT team goes in to capture him. And then he was killed in prison shortly after sentencing because he was ratting to the FBI on the Italian mobs. The next suspect is actually anonymous. In 1994, an anonymous letter was delivered to the museum director. The author claimed to work for a third-party negotiator for the people behind the heist and demanded $2.6 million for the return of the paintings. The letter gave a coded message to be printed in the Boston Globe if they were willing to pay, and instructed not to print any message if they refused. The museum director forwarded the letter to the local FBI office. The FBI believed the letter could be legitimate, and several facts about the robbery that were described in the letter were not public knowledge. The coded message was printed in the May 1st, 1994 edition of the Boston Globe.
No fucking way.
Yeah.
They did it?
They printed it in the Boston Globe. You can still look for it. I don't know how you're going to find the message, but it's in the May 1st, 1994 edition of the Boston Globe at the request of the FBI, indicating that they would pay the $2.6 million ransom for the paintings.
Did they?
The anonymous author replied to the message printed in the Globe in another letter to the museum director saying they needed some more time to consider their options.
Did they get paid?
They were never heard from again. The FBI was unable to trace down the anonymous author, and that lead seemed to go cold.
What the fuck?
Yeah, play like a fiddle, bro.
It sounds like this group just keeps playing the FBI and the Boston police.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like they're just like, I know you're looking for answers, and I'm going to piece together bits and pieces of what's been released, and I'm going to feed it to you so you think I know something.
Yeah, it's almost like they're toying with them, right?
Kind of, yeah. It kind of makes me think that they're really not connected to it.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think it was like a one-off.
Yeah, they're just like, I just want to insert myself into this and just
maybe
do it. Because there are people who do that.
But the FBI thought the letter was legit enough to have the Boston Herald print this coded message.
And didn't pay him, though.
Yeah, but they never heard back from him, so they never paid.
I mean, it could be a genuine, legit message where they've created this sort of scenario based off of information that they have from there, and they just pieced enough of it together where they could give something where the FBI is like, you know what?
I don't know. I feel like if it's the FBI, they know what details are probably most likely out there, what have to be intimate to someone who has like some type of inside info. So somehow they had to be tied to it, and they probably got threatened or something like that, right?
And it's not, I'm not doing this as a hoax, because then I am lying to the FBI. I'm going to go do some time, right?
But if it is a hoax, you have to have inside info.
Or just be untraceable.
They did not disclose exactly what they knew, but the FBI said that some details in the letter gave enough information that they felt it was legitimate. It was information that about the crime that was not released to the public. So
the FBI is probably so full of them fucking selves that they're not admitting that unless they feel like they totally got one foot over on them.
And guilt knowledge is a thing that they do. They keep some information close to them.
Sure.
So, yeah, okay.
So another suspect was Brian McDermott. Brian McDermott was a known criminal from the New York City area. In 1981, he dressed up as a FedEx driver and tried to steal a Rembrandt painting from the Hyde collection at an exhibit in Glen Falls, New York.
This guy, I feel good about. This is like
the same MO.
Feel good about this guy.
So he carried handcuffs and duct tape as part of his plan, but he was caught before he entered the building. This fits the same MO and tools as used in the Gardner heist.
How many years before?
This was in 81, and the Gardner heist was in 1990.
9 years.
9 years later.
He was also in prison until early 1990.
Oh, so he just got out.
Yeah, but his whereabouts are unknown at the time of the heist.
But he was out before the heist.
Yes.
And just because his whereabouts are unknown doesn't mean that he hasn't communicated with other people and been a part of like a plan moving forward.
Now, Nichole, you said, I feel good about this guy. What does that mean?
I can look at a series of pictures and say, like, this person doesn't match the energy, this person doesn't match the energy, this person does match. I'm not saying I'm 100%, but I did not feel good about any of the suspects up until this point. This guy, I do feel like he could be possibly related to this. And if we're thinking about other than energy in prison, don't prisoners make a lot of like relations and networks?
Yep.
Especially with their cellmates.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do we know who his cellmate was? I know that's a very random question.
I do not know.
Okay.
You don't know his social, Chris?
Nope.
No, but sometimes you can
His
find
favorite
that.
color, Chris.
Listen, I've listened to a lot of true crime
His favorite
podcasts.
color was
and-
blue.
No,
And he took a painting from the blue room.
A lot of times,
He was great at Scrabble.
when people are incarcerated, you'll be able to
know,
fuck you both.
don't mess-
Do you see why I'm quiet on the podcast?
This is great. Carry on, sorry.
They do. A lot of times when prisoners are there, you can
I'll pick it up.
access the people they are incarcerated
Well, I'm
with.
sure
and
the
they
FBI
share information.
probably did that because they at least brought him in for questioning. And another interesting fact about him was he also collected rare flags. Now, remember, the Napoleon flag was attempted to be taken, but the robber couldn't remove it from the wall. Brian also fit the description of one of the two robbers, as tall and with red hair. Now, a guy from South Boston having red hair is not exactly unusual.
A lot of Irish.
A lot of Irish. But the FBI thought this was enough to bring him in for questioning.
Of course they did, because he's Irish.
Yeah, we're targeted. We're always
Targeting
targeted.
the
We feel
Irish,
that.
yes.
Oh, God.
So he denied any involvement, and they couldn't match his fingerprints to any of the prints collected from the crime scene. Brian refused to take a polygraph test, so eventually they had to let him go. Now, Brian moved to LA and became a consultant on making crime drama TV shows.
Really?
Yes. And he did that up until 2004 when he passed away. He definitely fit the description, tried to commit a crime in the same MO 10 years earlier. So he's definitely on the suspect list.
Can you put someone in prison because they failed a lie detector test? You can't, right?
It's not admissible in court, but they feel they can use it to say, okay, this might be our guy. Let's look deeper, right?
So it's like a peer pressure tactic is really what it is at the end of the day.
So it'll measure your blood pressure, your heart rate, your metabolic,
breathing.
Your breathing. And the theory is that if you have a good set of control questions, when somebody's lying, you should be able to measure a different level.
It's like a pressure check.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
I'd be so nervous getting a lie detector tested. I'd be like, oh.
Yeah.
I'd be like, what's your name? Shit. One theory by the FBI is that the paintings in the robbery are too famous, and therefore it would be very difficult to sell these paintings. Who would pay millions of dollars for a painting that you could never show off to anybody and everybody's looking for? Now, if this is the case, they theorize that these paintings would only have value in trade. If a member of an organized crime family ever got arrested, they could exchange the paintings for a reduced sentence or not to be prosecuted in the case to begin with.
Interesting. The insurance plan.
Yes, which you mentioned as well. So this brings in our next group of suspects, the Mariano crime family. Now, this gets messy, so try to follow me here. Frank Salemi worked for the Mariano crime family. During an undercover operation in 1981, the FBI overheard a criminal named Louis Royce, who worked for Salemi, talk about a plan to use smoke bombs to rob the Gardner Museum.
Smoke detectors went off.
Smoke detectors went off. The FBI shared this information with the museum in 1981, and this is the reason the museum added the motion detectors that we discussed earlier and the second night shift guard and the 4 cameras on the perimeter.
Because of a previously planned plot. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So Louis Royce was in prison at the time of the Gardner heist for a different robbery. Louis was believed to share information with another member of the crime family, Stephen Rossetti. Rossetti was theorized to have ordered the robbery be completed by a gangster by the name of Robert Giuliani. Giuliani died of cancer in 2004. However, his widow told the FBI that her husband did own the paintings for a while, and when he was diagnosed with cancer, he gave the paintings to another gangster by the name of Robert Gentile for safekeeping.
Kathy, I see your face. Why would she make that up?
I don't know why she would make it up, but I also don't know why she's talking about it.
Oh, you're just like, bitch, shut your mouth.
Like, why? Yeah, like, I don't understand. Like, what's the point? Like, she's like...
Oh, yeah, I owned those paintings for a while. We hung them in the parlor.
Yeah.
I'm a big Rembrandt fan. I don't know.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, what's the point of, like, sharing the information like your husband's dead?
This is ballsy by this lady.
Pretty ballsy, yeah. But the widow claimed that her husband gave the paintings to a gangster by the name of Robert Gentile. Okay, Robert Gentile was brought in for questioning by the FBI and denied any involvement.
Yeah, I bet he said she was crazy.
I mean, what else is he going to say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
However, he did submit to a polygraph test.
Oh, okay.
He failed the test when questioned about knowing where the paintings were. A few days later, the FBI raided Gentile's house in Manchester, Connecticut. The FBI found a secret room beneath a false floor in the backyard shed, but they found it was empty.
Well, were they big enough for the paintings?
They were big enough for the paintings.
Oh, come on.
And just because he might know where they are doesn't mean he has them.
They also found a Boston Globe newspaper in the basement of the house that had an article about the missing paintings and what the missing paintings were worth.
Vested fucking interest into what's happening. This is so interesting.
Now, remember, this is Connecticut, not Massachusetts. So why does he have a local Boston newspaper in his basement?
It's got to be them, right? It's got to be.
So later on, they questioned Gentile's son about the secret room under the shed. His son reported, and I quote, "I don't know. I think he kept motors in there or something."
He knows where his paycheck comes in.
Well, maybe, yeah. Or maybe he didn't know. Or maybe this guy was a gangster and had illegal motors, and that's why he kept them in a secret room beneath the shed. Now, to add to the mystery, Gentile in 2004, now in his late 60s, was convicted on drug charges and sentenced to 30 months in prison. He could have given up any one of the paintings for a reduced or eliminating his sentence, but he never tried.
Yeah, but you're just going to reduce your sentence. You're still going to end up having to do jail time. Well, I
30
mean,
months in your late 60s, if they could have gave him a month in prison or probation.
Yeah, you want to go to
I would've
prison as
taken that.
being a rat?
Ooh, yeah, that's the other thing.
3 to 4 years is not that much time either. And plus, just because, again, he had them at one point doesn't mean he knows where they are right now.
Exactly.
So he doesn't have the leverage, right?
And they're not asking him to rat on anybody. They're asking him just to turn over the painting.
Yeah, but in order to turn over the painting, you got to say where it is.
Well, I
Which
just
means-
Or organize it to show up something.
Well, yeah, but like either way, there's got to be somebody who delivers the paintings.
we're going to get into that right now.
Okay.
Ooh.
So Mariano, the alleged head of the Mariano crime family, by the way, the Italian mob is a myth made up by Protestants.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. We heard
Protecting his
we heard
people
you the
now.
first
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Okay.
Mariano was arrested for cocaine trafficking in 1992.
Little cocaine.
He was facing a sentence of 10 years. He made a deal with the FBI to trade the paintings for a reduced sentence. He sent one of his associates, Dave Turner, to retrieve the paintings and turn them into the FBI. Several weeks later, Dave returned and said to the FBI, I don't know where the paintings are, but I heard they were in a church somewhere in South Boston.
So, whoa, what? So, my boss is in prison, so I'm going to go take care of this and make a quick dime if I do know where it is? Or does he not know, really?
It's interesting,
But
right?
I could also see like a local church, like back in the day, they were all rumored that they all like the mobs took care of their neighborhoods. So who's to say that so-and-so didn't have someone that was connected to someone at the church and they were like, we need a safe place to hide this. And they just took it and they put it in the basement.
So a search of all churches across South Boston, and there's a lot of churches in South Boston, by the FBI turned up absolutely nothing. Turner also wrote a letter to Robert Gentile's girlfriend that was intercepted by the FBI saying he needed her to get the paintings. She was questioned by the FBI about this letter, but later released.
What? Is there like an inside man in the FBI?
Who is playing who and to what ends really never got solved.
And are those letters even real, or are they just like playing the FBI like little puppets?
Why would they play the FBI with saying his own girlfriend has to go get the paintings?
Or the FBI said that those letters existed and they didn't.
Don't? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the Mariano crime family was never convicted or eliminated from the suspect list. Mariano eventually died in prison.
And the other thing is, too, is like while he's working with the FBI, I'm sure for those few weeks, maybe that month or whatever, his life in prison is probably a little bit more cushiony than it would be under normal circumstances. So even if it's a temporary situation where he's kind of, maybe getting a little bit of extra yard time, he maybe isn't in population with certain people, I'm sure that there's some benefit to him saying, I'm going to give you information.
Oh, yeah.
Even if it's not
I'll get you the paintings, just not yet, but you're going to take care of me.
Yeah, he's just kind of stringing along, like, let me see whatever perks I can get in the meantime, because from what I hear, jail sucks.
But guys, this gets even stranger, right? So in 2014, an investigative reporter for the Boston Herald, Stephen Cangine, interviewed a gangster by the name of Vincent Fiera about the heist. Vincent explained the FBI was wrong in suspecting Robert Gentile. He reported they needed to talk to a criminal antique dealer by the name of William P. Youngsworth. Youngsworth was already suspected by the FBI for brokering deals for stolen antiques and paintings, but they could never make the charges stick. The FBI raided Youngsworth's house and antique shop, turning up no connections to the Boston heist. Now, these raids caught the attention of a journalist for the Boston Herald by the name of Tom Mashberg. Tom began interviewing Youngsworth in 1997 about the thefts. Youngsworth, through the reporter for the Boston Herald, tried to broker a deal to return the paintings for the release of Mariano from prison. Mashberg wrote in his article in the Boston Herald, one night, in August of 1997, Youngsworth picked him up and drove him to a warehouse in Brooklyn, New York. Youngsworth led him inside the storage unit, which held several large cylinder tubes. He removed one of the paintings from the tubes and unfurled it for Mashberg to see. It appeared to be the Storm on the Sea of Galley. He noticed cracks along the canvas, and the edges were cut in a manner consistent with the museum's report.
No fucking way.
He also noticed Rembrandt's signature on the ship's rudder. Now, the FBI, several weeks later, found the location of the warehouse, raided it, and found absolutely nothing.
No.
Gets deeper. Youngsworth went on to supply paint chips to Mashberg to convince officials that it was authentic and to deal for Mariano's release. Federal authorities reported that the paint chips were indeed from Rembrandt's era, but did not match the oils used for the storm on the Sea of Galilee.
Do you think the FBI could be lying?
I have no idea, but it's strange that he found paint chips from the era.
Yeah, that's what
But
I'm
they
saying.
just didn't match the oil, the painting he did.
That's what
Well,
I'm saying.
that's okay, though. They could be paint chips from one of the other paintings, potentially.
It
Or,
could be, yes.
Like,
How
it
many
doesn't have to be-
Rembrandts were taken?
5.
5 Rembrandts were
Yeah.
taken.
Yeah, so it could have just been one
One of
chips from
those.
one of the other ones. Like, holy shit, though. I never knew this, like, went this deep. So wait, so there's a chance that in 2014, these paintings, or at least some of them, were still in the fucking area?
Absolutely, yes. Experts also question the unrolling of the painting as Mashberg described in his story. Experts reported the paintings were so heavily varnished to keep their finish, they would be very difficult to roll up and unroll, and that the description Mashberg used was just not possible.
Oh.
So he's like, yeah, we just unfurled the painting and showed it to me. But given the way that those paintings were taken care of, it would be very difficult to unroll.
So it would be like the canvas itself would be like really stiff, right? So like if they did roll it, it would be like cracking the paint.
Yes.
So like it would like almost like fall apart.
Cracking, or I'm picturing a varnish so heavy that you really have to work to unroll the painting. It's not like so you just unfurl it like a poster.
Sure.
So what would this whole be? Would this, they just be making this up? Is it to take heat off of someone else? Like, why would he lie about this? You bring a reporter here.
Very good question. Was the reporter lying?
Yeah.
Did he actually see this painting? Was that all a hoax? Was it something to help?
Real paint chips from the air. Like,
Real paint
Yeah, I
chips
mean
from
that
the
can't be
actual
denied,
era.
right? Like
Yeah.
that's actually like
I mean, that's
proven.
what the
It's
expert said,
It's on
yeah.
file.
And if I was the
case.
FBI making it up, I'm not adding that detail in there.
Yes. So over 35 years, many people have claimed to have the paintings, but none have actually showed up. So as you guys can see, so many different players and leads, but in the end of the day, no paintings, no convictions, and still a $10 million reward that has not been collected that's due to expire at the end of the year. This is the story of the Gardner Museum heist. Everything that we've heard, and with Nichole's insight and the case and suspect list laid out, what are your guys' final conclusions?
I'll read you the last 2 paragraphs of my notes, okay? It says, these are all specific orders. Later, I believe similar heists happened, but back in 1990, there wasn't technology and it was much easier to execute. Mobsters worked out for the best. These guys played on their lack of security, technology, and organization of law enforcement, museum, 100% black market private sellers.
Yes, that ties in so nicely with the story, doesn't it?
But I don't have like specific names. But as we were saying earlier, the ties with Brian McDermott and the warehouse in New York, the prison time, like all of these things just are not by coincidence.
Yeah, it all seems to add up, but they just don't have enough to make an arrest yet.
Right, which I think was a master plan.
You see, I think Nichole's theory makes a lot of sense that these were paintings that were pre-ordered to be stolen from the museum.
Mm-hmm.
Because they took certain paintings and walked right by other paintings that were more valuable.
More valuable.
Yeah, they weren't our experts, that's for sure.
The other interesting thing that I thought was these paintings are so famous that people would collect them as get out of jail free cards. You could bust me for 10 grams of cocaine, or you could get a Rembrandt back. Which one is the FBI agent going to take?
Ooh, that's interesting.
Right, or my grandkid gets in trouble and they're looking at life in prison or whatever it is. Like I got a Rembrandt in the bottom of the ocean. Like, here you go, sir.
Yeah, no, I think that's totally feasible. I think that is a realistic.
Does it work like that? Would the FBI cut like,
yes.
Oh, okay, like you're not going to get suspended and kicked out of Syracuse because you brought a Rembrandt back? Like that,
So,
that happens?
So, Sean,
it does.
You're an FBI agent. You just busted me with 10 grams of cocaine.
Yeah.
Now, you could put me in prison for 10 years, or you could be the guy who solved this case and got a Rembrandt.
Touche.
Yeah. That's,
your career, you're set. Your grandkids are set. You're Gucci.
Yeah,
Fine.
you take any case you want.
So let's say you pull the heist off. You now have these priceless pictures. What are you doing with them? We know Kathy's putting them on display, but like, let's
No, I'm not putting them on display.
in a private room. In a private room.
I'm in a private room, so when I feel insecure about myself, I can go and be like, "Fuck yeah,
Yeah, that's me, bitch.
these motherfuckers."
I'm just saying, like, were they hidden inside of this hidden room, or would you be getting it out of the United States ASAP? Like, get it out of the United States. I want it as far away from the FBI as anyone that can find it as possible.
Some could be in Boston. Some could be like a Saudi prince. Some could be in Dubai. Some could be in Lynn. Some could be in South America. Like, you're never going to find them.
Yeah, and the thing you have to remember is the people who are a part of this, who are buying these paintings, It's not the average Joe.
Sean, I got nervous about having overdue library books, so I'm not the guy stealing these paintings.
I love it. I love it. Nichole, what about you? You hired someone, they got it to you. What are you doing with it?
I would literally panic and freak out.
Oh, you're not as bad as you said. There it is.
Wouldn't?
I knew it.
You're lying.
I would go, hi, my name is Nichole, my husband, and he's going to speak on behalf of me. I don't freak out. Honestly, I would freak out.
Yeah, I couldn't keep it anywhere. That thing would be hidden and no one would ever see it ever again.
So,
I'd burn it.
Nichole, I know we just met.
Yes.
But y'all a bunch of bitches.
Okay, Kathy.
So, Nichole, your take is the 13 paintings, they're all scattered around the world in the hands of private buyers and probably inside of some secret room that they have someplace that aren't being seen.
Random warehouses. I think there might be a couple in the United States, like with these mobsters with that connection. They're like, do you want me to do the deal? I got to get a cut. My wife likes this painting or whatever it is. I just think that they're scattered all over.
Let's be real. That was the motivation. Gosh, my wife will not shut up about that painting. Well, Chris, thank you so much for the story. But most importantly, Nichole, thank you so much for joining us and bringing your gifts to the table and sharing some of, the download that you got and, the gifts that you have and helping add some color and some of your perspective to this story. It's been so much fucking fun. Maybe too much fun.
So much fun. I hope it's not the last time. I had a huge blast. You guys have such great energy together and I love the vibe. Absolute blast.
Thank you so
thank
much.
you.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you,
much
guys.
fun having you on, and this was a really good episode. Thank you so much.
It is. The last thing that we like to do anytime we have a guest on is kind of roll the red carpet out for you, Nichole. So give a second to, plug whether that's your socials or anything you've got.
So I'm doing readings. I am on Instagram. You can find me at _intuitive_consultant. Or if you want to email, that's at intuitiveconsultant, the number 8 at gmail.com. Why the number 8? I don't know.
I was going to ask that.
Because Intuitive Consultant was taken on gmail.com.
Damn
And
it.
so intuitiveconsultant8 at gmail.com. And yeah, I'm just seeing whatever plops on my lap. So this has been a blast.
Oh, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. And gang, we hope that you enjoyed today's episode as well. If you did, make sure you go ahead and you check out our Instagram. That is at Weirder After Dark, where Chris will be going ahead and he'll be posting many images that will support today's episode.
And a map.
And a map.
Drawn by Nichole.
Hey.
And a map.
I'll send it over.
We're going to have a fucking
Beautiful.
map. And those will be...
I have like the number 1 and 2. Like 1 is like the strongest lead I got. And
Okay.
number 2 is like the second strongest.
Fucking love that.
Yeah, that's
I
so
think
cool. You
it's-
get to go check that out on
He's trying to
Instagram.
see. Yeah, it's cool.
Boots on the ground. Get out
he's
there.
trying to see.
We're going. We
You
are
know,
going.
international listeners to go check out for us and report back.
Hey, we have 4% UK followerships. If there's anything in the UK, we got people, Nichole.
That's right. That's right. And then next time we'll be in Nashville.
That's
Hello.
it. That's it.
I love Nashville.
Be careful
Nashville
what-
is a great city. Careful what you wish
Yeah,
for.
be careful what you wish for, Nichole.
Doors open.
You
Kathy's
said,
booking a plane right now.
You said that I was one that kept Sean in line.
She's learned. Nichole has learned. And don't forget, we are always on the lookout for your weird New England stories. So, I don't know, has someone showed up, knocked on your door with a weird mustache and said they were police officers, duct taped you to, your basement floor, and then ripped off your whole entire house? Because if they did, we want to hear those stories.
No, first call the police.
Okay, do that.
Then let us know.
Yeah. And if you haven't had that happen, you just got a weird ghost story or you've seen a cryptid, like send those stories to us too. And you can send those to thegang@weirderafterdark.com. And if you are loving this shit, no, if you're fucking in love with this shit, the best thing you can do for us is to go ahead and to leave a review wherever you are listening. So whether that is Apple Podcasts or over at Spotify, please drop a 5-star review, drop a little comment. It's the best thing you can do to help us out. And it would mean the absolute world to us. And as always, don't forget, it gets a little weirder after dark.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.